All right. Good morning, Yelm students. We are excited to host the Professionals by Pathway Career Exploration event to help students connect their learning to career opportunities. I am Austin Baker. I teach agricultural sciences here at Yelm High School, and I'm excited to welcome Mayor J.W. Foster, Cody Colt, and Grant Beck with Yelm Municipality as our guests today. Before we get started, I wanted to remind everyone that this is being recorded so future students can benefit from our speakers. We have the next 30 minutes to learn about this career field, the education that is needed to enter and grow within the industry, and what advice our speakers have for our students. And we will be monitoring any questions that students submit. So let's go ahead and get started so our students can learn about the various professions and how they can prepare for their future. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mayor Foster.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Baker, and thank you to all the students who have tuned in today. Welcome to the wide world of working for the city of Yelm, Pride of the Prairie. In a little while, you'll hear from Cody and from Grant about them, but I just want to tell you briefly, as mayor of Yelm, I serve as the chief executive officer of our city's municipal government. I'm independently elected, and I work to carry out the policies put in place by our city council. So I hire and manage a bunch of professionals who will help me in this work, like the police chief, public works director, community development director, city clerk, and others, who are then in charge of running their respective departments. And I'll talk about how you get to be mayor in a little bit, but for right now, I just wanted to tell you about how and why you could and should work for a city like ours. So the benefits of working for the city of Yelm. We always want to start with the money. The pay and benefits of working for a municipality are really good. They're competitive with private industry, but there's some other benefits as well that I'll talk about. And we compare our wage and benefit scale to other communities like us in the Northwest region. So it's communities that are the same size, roughly have the same budget, so that we can stay competitive with them and then offer a really good compensation package to people who decide to come work for Yelm. We want them to stay with us. We have about 60 employees, and many of them have been with us over 20 years. There are people who have worked for the city of Yelm for their entire career, and there's a reason that happens. It's a great place to work. Working and living in your own community can be very rewarding. That's the thing. You get to see the results of your work every day, and it becomes a point of personal pride. By the way, we actually have quite a few employees who graduated from Yelm High School, including Mr. Colt. We have dozens of different jobs, like police officer, parks maintenance, wastewater treatment facility technician, information and technology team who kept us alive in COVID-19 2020. And many of them have excellent opportunities for lateral and vertical mobility. What I mean by that is you can start in one job, but if you want to move over to a different job within the city family, there's opportunity to do that. For example, we had a police officer who did a full career with us. But when he retired, he wasn't quite ready to be done. So he transferred over to public works. I think he just wanted to ride the big lawnmower. Everybody does. But he finished off his career and was able to do that within the city structure. And then another one for vertical mobility. One of the most important jobs we have in the city is city clerk. And our city clerk, Lori, started out some 15, 16 years ago in a secretarial position, and then achieved that growth internally by taking advantage of educational opportunities that we provided her. So again, lots of opportunity for growth and a career ladder. So what is your pathway to working for an awesome city like Yelm? First, very important, we only hire nice people. Second, we hire folks who can demonstrate that they're eager to learn and can stick with a program. So obviously starting off with a high school diploma is really important. Then you need to look for an opportunity to explore jobs that you might be interested in. We have dozens of jobs available in City of Yelm. Explore our website. maybe apply for one of our volunteer boards like the Parks Board. Ask the city about opportunity for job shadowing or intern positions. We even have summer employment opportunities like in the Parks Department that you could test the waters in. Now, briefly, how to be mayor. Surprise, there is no direct path to this job. It's an elected position that can be filled by whomever the voters choose, whether or not that person is even qualified in any way. Scary, huh? So when you vote, and I hope you do get registered to vote soon, vote carefully. My path was through a lifelong career of community service. I joined the Marine Corps out of high school, and then after 5 years of that, I went on to a 34-year career as a paramedic firefighter, learning along the way how to deal with critical situations and how to communicate and work with other people. And then I volunteered for the community, like the Parks Board, Planning Commission, and then finally ran for City Council in 2011. And that's when my civic education really began. After 6 years of that, I took on the job of mayor, and it's been a great way to apply those years of experience to the challenges we've faced over the past few years. So there you go in brief, and I'll be standing for questions afterwards. But now I'd like to turn this over to Grant Beck, our Community Development Director, to talk about what he does for the city of Yelm and how you get there. Grant?
Thank you, Mayor. To start off with, I guess I do consider myself a local hire, although I graduated from Tumwater High School. My path took me up to Western Washington University, where I received a degree in urban and regional planning, and then worked throughout the state in different jobs as a planner and planning director and plan reviewer. For the last 18 years, I've been able to work local with the city of Yelm, and I've enjoyed every second of it. Yelm is a hugely progressive city for its size. We've come a long way in the last 18 years, and the future is bright as well. My job as community development director is really to help the community decide what it wants to be when it grows up. And that's not a drop out of the sky kind of thing. That requires a lot of community engagement and community discussion, and oftentimes community division. Not everybody has the same vision for the future. I can only imagine back in the day, the folks who looked out at the prairie in the 1920s, 1930s, and envisioned what Yelm is today. But they were doing that, and we've continued to do that throughout the years. Excuse me. So back in the day, no stoplights. Yelm Avenue was a very little traffic on it back then. But even then, we were looking forward and starting to plan and develop our infrastructure to support the future growth of the city. So back in the mid 90s, that process really got started with a bunch of citizens sitting down and creating a vision plan and going through, what they liked about Yelm. These are all documents or drawings from that 1994 effort. Through that kind of guided our comprehensive plan and all subsequent planning. So we just finished doing the same sort of thing for our downtown corridor. They had again a group of citizens sit down and look at our central business district and really tell us what they wanted to see that area grow into. Things like an activated alley with a bunch of seating behind between Yelm Avenue and Washington. Getting more pedestrian oriented, making it safer for people to walk around downtown and enjoy the area. That plan then was adopted by the city council, and we'll start implementing it over time as funding and opportunities present themselves. So the first part of my job is to help engage the community in that process of figuring out what we want to look like. The second part is really creating the roadmap to obtaining that vision. So part of that is establishing our zoning regulations, which tells you what can go where and has all the design standards for what things should look like. Part of the vision for Yelm is a very livable community, which includes things like streets that are have sidewalks, that are have bike lanes, that are multimodal, street trees to soften the hardscape of neighborhoods and the downtown commercial area. So all of those are the regulations and development standards that work towards that overriding vision. The third part of the job is actually reviewing developments to make sure that they match that vision. So this is an application that's in right now for a fast food restaurant. My team of planners, engineers, and building inspectors are all reviewing it to make sure that they meet all the city codes and provide safe access, safe circulation inside, and again, all the landscaping and the things that make our commercial areas more attractive. So the thing about the job is it's never over. So our next steps always are to revisit the plans and the vision, because not everybody was here in the 1990s when the vision plan was originally included, and things do change over time, and people's wants and needs change over time. So it's an ongoing process where we're always updating that vision and incorporating any improvements into our development regulations. We've been talking a lot recently about what things are going to look like after the pandemic and how life may change forever. It could mean that we're working more from home and traveling less, which changes the needs for Cody to build and maintain roads, but may increase the need for water and sewer capacity as we spend more time in town. And that's the interface between Cody and I, and it's really super important that we do our jobs together and in concert with each other, because he's responsible for maintaining and building that vision as it comes into the public part, not the private development. So if I don't do my job right, he's going to have to spend far more money maintaining roads, maintaining the water sewer system, if we don't get it right before we actually build this stuff. So that's why it's important to always keep adjusting course, revisiting things, but most of all, making sure that the community is on board with where we're headed and where we're going to be in the future. The final thought I would have is that future does involve additional growth and more people. The entire country is growing. Unless we stopped all immigration and having babies, everybody's going to grow. So we need to plan for that and incorporate those new citizens into our vision, while maintaining the look and feel and the culture that we love here in Yelm. So with that, I'll let Cody take over and maintain the system.
Thank you, Grant. Yeah, Grant hit the nail on the head, is that when Grant is responsible for making sure the planning is correct, those things go in correctly in the ground, because once they're in and they've taken their hands off it, now it's on to Public Works to ensure that those things continue to function and work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start out with a video just to show you what I do in a day, to give you an idea, and then we'll have some talk about it afterwards here. So that just kind of give you an insight into what our day entails and what all Public Works is responsible for. You know, everything you see in the city is something Public Works has a hand at, either in maintaining, controlling, or ensuring it functions correctly. And a lot of what my guys and my team do goes underground. You know, you don't see the pipes running that's supplying you with water. You don't see the pipes taking the sewer away. You don't see the cables running, providing internet and stuff like that. So all of those things go into my job. And then kind of just to give you an explanation of how I got to this point, it's a kind of a funny story. I went to Yelm. I've lived here almost my entire life. I grew up here, moved in '89, went through school here, graduated high school in 2002. And then after graduating high school, I knew that I wanted to do something. I didn't know what it was, but I didn't have the capacity to really handle college at that age. So I joined the military, was in the Navy for 9 years, went to a bunch of different areas, saw the whole world, and decided that the best part of the world that I enjoyed was Yelm. So I moved back here and wanted to get involved and loved the city so much that I ran for city council. So I got my degree in teaching, became a teacher at Yelm Middle School, as most of the students that are watching probably know or had me at some point in time, which is, you know, awesome. I love that job so much and I loved giving back. But as a city councilman, seeing a need in the city for, you know, that I could help more, that I could be a better asset and even more impactful on what's happening in the city, I decided that I wanted to get more involved. And so the Public Works job opened up and I applied for that. And I think the keys to me getting or being successful at this job were, you know, a lot of what I learned in school, you know, having an open mind, being creative, wanting to do things, but always trying to better myself and, you know, never stopping my education, always trying to learn new things, never saying that I couldn't do something or didn't believe I could do something just because I had a degree in teaching doesn't mean I can't go and learn something or help out somewhere else. And I think that's the biggest thing is if you love something enough and you want to be involved, you can do it. You just have to take the time and never stop learning. Always continue learning. And I think if you want to do anything, you can, as long as that's your mantra, you're just continuing to learn. So that's pretty much it for Public Works. As you saw, everything we do in that video is really quick, but you can kind of tell what Public Works has its hand on. So I'll hand it back to Mayor J.W. Foster.
Before that, Cody, I also made a video, but it was of me sitting in front of a computer on a Zoom meeting all day long. So,
yeah. The funny thing is, that was actual real time for Cody. That's
yeah,
speeded up at all.
Ran as my former students know, I do run pretty quick.
Cody's description of how he came into the job exemplifies the variety of career paths that you can take to get into one of these jobs. But if I didn't say it before, it's important to say it now. Find something that you really like to do, and then try to find a way to get there. Maybe it's a CTE class that you take, or maybe it is that summer job or the internship, but go after the thing you like and then find the education to support it. And I'll tell you, our experience is most people work in a different job than what they studied for coming right out of high school. And that's great because they found the thing that they really wanted to do. And Cody, you know, his military experience was a lot of engineering there. Other people who applied for his job had similar or maybe even more experience in some aspects of his job, but the combination of his experiences and his zeal for community service is what really took him right up to the top of that list of very qualified applicants. So, you know, live long, learn lots. I think I just made that up. That's pretty good. You can use that, Mr. Baker.
Oh, good.
So we've come to the point where our presentations are over. If Mr. Baker has any questions that have come in from the students, we're happy to respond to those.
Absolutely. So those that are attending, you're welcome to submit some questions through the Q&A. And so some of the questions that I have gotten is, how do you use reading, writing, and communication skills in your job?
Wow, each one of us could speak to that. I think Grant, well, each day that we come to work, we're probably going through at least 100 pages of documents that are relative to our job, either in an educational way or because it applies directly to a project that we're working on. And then being able to communicate carefully efficiently with the people who we need to convince about certain aspects of our job. Super important. Grant or Cody?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's exactly right. Most of what we do is make recommendations to various boards and commissions, the city council or the hearing examiner, and that has to be in a written form because that creates the record later on that people are basing their decision on. So we have to be very clear, concise, and communicate that both orally and in writing every time we appear before any sort of board or commission or the public.
Yeah, no, that's completely accurate. Is you have to be reading and writing is communication is key, and knowing how to read and write effectively is that communication. Without that, your words will get twisted, they'll get misinterpreted. Someone will assume something that isn't really what your intent is. So being able to clearly communicate through reading and writing is huge.
Awesome. We had a question come through. What are some personal skills that help you out in this work field?
Okay, for me, it's research and curiosity about why, well, a broad range of fields. In school, I started to link up economic theory with geographic theories about why cities grew the way they did historically. And there's so many reasons for that. You have to really understand a lot of different fields in order to understand the motivations, including psychology. And that's what I enjoy doing, along with just research and history and finding out why we got where we are at.
Cody?
Yeah, I think again, this goes back to that communication. The my personal skill set, you know, the ability to teach and inform people even middle school level helps me in communicating and teaching people that are adults. Because I've told my classes that often middle schoolers and high schoolers are way better at communicating and debating than adults are, right? Adults often get to anger and frustration much quicker than a student would, where they can actually be calm and talk about things they may not agree with. So just having those skills really helps in controlling, or not controlling, but helping debates move along at the adult level and helping conflict resolve itself without coming to blows or fisticuffs, you know, so.
We weren't going to talk about city council meetings.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That really, my addition to that is learning how and practicing how to listen effectively and read effectively. What is the actual point? My career as a paramedic firefighter, I was in critical situations where people were very upset by the life event that just happened to them. They would scream, they would yell, they would cry, sometimes at me, even though I didn't have anything to do with instigating their problem. I had to listen through that, and I pictured their words as if they were typed out on a piece of paper in front of me, and I read them, and I took the salient point from what they were saying and reflected it back to them. Even if it was just to say, I hear what you're saying, gave them something to anchor to, and then we moved forward. And then we do the same thing in our council discussions. Listen first, think, and then talk, I think is a really good skill.
What do you love about your work?
We only have a few minutes, Cody, but go ahead.
I think it's crazy the satisfaction you get when you see a kid like on the playground, or you see someone enjoying something that the city created as a whole, that we all had a hand in doing. I think that's the biggest joy, seeing those things and seeing, even if you get maybe 100 negative comments on Facebook, but that one good comment where they're like, I really love this, or this was great for me. That's what kind of keeps you going. And in any field, you have to kind of there are bad, there's things you can always take to get better. But when you get those, you got to really hold on to those positive things that are making people happier, making people enjoy life. And if you're improving that as a city, that's something you don't get to do in every job, right? We get to directly do stuff that'll improve the life of the citizens around us. And seeing those people having that enjoyment is, I think, the biggest part of and the best part of this job in any way, shape, or form. So.
And I completely concur. Unfortunately, I don't get as much immediate satisfaction as Cody, because for me, the splash pad is also, just a fabulous feature for the citizens. But we actually started talking about that in 2006. So I have to wait longer for the vision to become reality and get that satisfaction.
Yeah, planning and patience go hand in hand. Great example. People ask me, when is the Yelm loop going to be finished? Well, we started on the Yelm loop literally 27 years ago, and it takes a lot of partners, and it runs into a lot of obstacles, but it's coming. We're getting there. And I'll echo what Grant and Cody both said. That personal satisfaction that you get from a job well done, that translates across all job fields. But as mayor, I get such great satisfaction about doing something important for my neighbors, my friends, my family, who all call Yelm home. Pride of the Prairies right here. And I've really appreciated the opportunity to serve in this capacity. It's been great.
So as our final question, have you ever dealt with a bunch of stress due to your work, and how do you handle that? Because being mayor seems very stressful.
Yeah, it can be. It's more stressful for my wife, Nikki, and for my friend Debbie, who I know is listening to this, because they don't have the ability to respond to some of these stressors that come up, but I do. And again, the stress, I bring it in, I seek to understand it, and then find a positive way forward. And that actually alleviates the stress. If I'm working on something, a cure, a fix to make things better, then the stress melts away and the accomplishment shines through.
And I'd just add that to me, I look to the people that I care about and respect the most to make sure, to be my moral compass and make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And so as long as, my peers like Cody and my leader like Mayor Foster and the people that I respect in my life know that I'm trying to do the right thing and do it the right way, that relieves a lot of stress.
Yeah, just to echo that, stress is not always a bad thing, right? Stress will get you to be productive. It'll get you to think about things in a new way or try to come up with creative solutions, as the mayor was saying. And I think that's how I personally deal with it when I get, when there is stressors in my job. I find creative ways to deal with them or solutions to come out with, and knowing that, hey, I can fix this problem, or we can try to fix this problem together. I think that's the best way to handle the stress of any job, is know that you can create it. There's some stress you can't have an effect on, and don't let that really get to you, right? There's things I can't affect the weather. I can't change it. So if it happens, we got to deal with it. And knowing that we have ways to deal with it kind of helps with that stress.
And I know we're short on time, but I want to add one more thing in that goes along with what I said earlier: live long, learn lots. If you know your job really, really well, then you're able to respond to all of these challenges, even if they're negative, even if they're stressful. You're ready for it. My career as a paramedic taught me that. I never stopped learning, and I was always ready for that medical or traumatic emergency that happened. And I've tried to do that same thing here with the job as mayor. There's an endless amount of information out there for me to absorb and bring into these decisions. And the more I know, the stronger I feel about facing those challenges. And I know Cody and Grant feel the same way about their positions.
Excellent. So thank you, Mayor Foster, Cody, and Grant, for meeting with us today and sharing that perspective with students, and as well all that you do for the Yelm community.
Truly our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.